Let's do a show. Let's do a show right now. What are we doing?
Can't you see? Everyone! They're here already! You're next!
Let's go!
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born!
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
Do you have a kid? Have you reproduced? First and foremost, if you're a guy, congratulations on not firing blanks. And if you are a parent, how involved are you in your kid's life? It's funny, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was like, yep, my daughter is headed back to college. She left for her freshman year of college, and this is her first extended period of time at home. This is the first time we've been able to really hang out. Like, went and visited her at college, and that was cool, but she's busy. She's going to class, and it was cool to see her in that environment and see that she was surrounded by good kids. But it was really great to see that she left a girl, and 6 months later, she's returned a young woman. I was like, does that mean you've done your job? He's like, you've never done your job if you're a parent. You're a parent for the rest of your life. I was like, not everybody with a kid believes that. But if you're a parent and you're an involved parent and you feel like you're a parent till the rest of your life, I want to say thank you. Especially now. Look, there's so many people that are just over it, fed up with the state of the world and politics, and you just feel so powerless and so at the effect. And we talk all the time about this. The idea of truth is further and further mired in the idea of where you're getting your information from. You take CNN seriously? Good luck finding the truth. You take Fox News seriously? Good luck. Anyways. People feel that they are further and further from the concept of the truth of knowing what is going on. And when you don't know what's going on, when you don't know what the truth is, when you are living at the effect of a world that is radically changing quickly, things like Trump's election, whether you're for it or against it, one thing we can all agree on is it's new territory that we are forging. And because it feels like things are so hopelessly out of control, out of your control, and because it feels like the idea of the truth is not something that we are privy to anymore, so many people struggle to find a way to affect change in their life, in the life of the people that matter, in their world. And we talk about ways you can do this all the time. It's easy. You wake up and you are awesome to the people around you. You can affect your world, your sphere of influence. And it starts with you. It will always begin with you. You don't like the shape of your life. An elected official is not going to change that. You will change that. We will change our lives together. A great way to start is by being awesome to those around us. And another great way to start is by doing the right thing by your kids. An involved parent that cares, even when it's not easy to care, even when that idiot kid smashed up your car or did something ill-advised or came home with yet another D on their report card and it doesn't seem to care about it and doesn't realize this is their future. An involved parent is a rarer thing than it should be. And if you are an involved parent, if you put the effort in to being a part of your kid's life, I want to thank you. Because, an involved parent, you're not just doing the right thing by your kid. You're not just staying involved in their life and being a part of their world and trying to give them the best foundation and teach them the best life lessons you know. You're not trying to just give them the best shot that you know how to give them. You're not trying to just make it so they have a little bit more than you had when you were growing up. You're not just trying to give them options. By being an involved parent, you are doing the right thing by your child, and you are doing the right thing by me. and by Funkhouser and by the rest of the world and by the future. So you might feel powerless in the face of it all. But you do have a sphere of influence. And if you have a child, doing the right thing by that child makes your sphere of influence that much greater. You have the ability to shape the future just by caring. So I want to thank the involved parents. I want to thank them for being a part of our tomorrow being better than today.
Let's start the show. Hot 1, hot 2, hot 3, hot AC from your radio live and uncut. Tonight, you're cutting loose and having fun. Cause that's my job, and my job's about to get done. Yeah, that's how I'm operating. And I'm thank motherfucker for cooperating when I say
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
every day you're going and working, running that rat race, and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, yo, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, bullet, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure? Before it's begun, your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
Hey, Funkhouser.
Yeah.
Did you, I was talking to you the whole time.
The mic was off?
Yeah, the microphone. I've got a cough, and we're not in an advanced studio. We're not in we're not in one of those highfalutin studios that have massive pieces of forward-thinking tech like a 1950s cough button. So I switched the microphone off to cough. Sorry. I was like, "There's Funkhouser asleep at the wheel. What the hell is he working on Nikki Sixx's show? That Motley Crue guy is always screwing with my life. I got to have a word with him." But the microphone was off the whole time. Literally, I was talking to you the entire time and thinking you were out to lunch. You weren't. It was my bad.
Real
fault.
classy. Why don't we just go to the story?
I'm never asleep at the wheel, ever.
Yeah, no. Me, on the other hand, honk shoe. Did you hear about this woman that got bounced off of the Ellen show? She was this gospel singer. She was supposed to be a guest on it.
No.
Have you heard the piece of audio that got her uninvited to be on Ellen?
No, huh? You got that over there?
I do, and we'll get into it a little later on in the show. We'll also discuss how, in an act of supreme humility, the Clintons have decided to show up at a specific event. What event? We'll get into it a little later on. Right now, though, we haven't done this in a little bit. Let's take a look at the events of today. Funkhouser, what's going on in the news?
Bum 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 bum.
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser. Barry Funkhouser.
Who?
Barry Funkhouser.
Oh, yeah.
Barry Funkhouser.
So run tell that, homeboy.
Oh, Megyn Kelly is leaving Fox News to join NBC.
You know, they always say this: the moment you get a promotion, you need to quit. That's the thing.
Really? All right. Well, then I'm quitting today. Goodbye.
Well, when did you get promoted?
You called me a good person
promotion
earlier. That's a promotion, isn't it?
That's a compliment. I don't believe that's a promotion.
Dang it.
Promotions tend to come with money and status. I don't know. And I think a lot of people are kind of shy about giving out compliments because in the workplace, they don't want to give out a compliment because let's see here. If we give them a compliment, they're going to start having self-worth. And if they have self-worth, they're going to start asking for more money. And if they ask for more money, we have to say no. And that's a whole difficult conversation to have. So let's just not give compliments. It's a delicate balance in the business world of, I think, people in management trying to motivate their staff. And how do you do it? With a stick or with a carrot? And when you start telling someone that they're great, they start going, yeah, and can I take that to the bank? Can I buy groceries with that? No. I know I'm great. What else? I'm sure this conversation has a B portion to it. I go through that all the time with our team of board ops, because some of them are really awesome. Like Jean, we've talked about him on the show. Man, if there's a type of person that I want to be friends with or work with, it's a veteran. Why? Because this is what never happens with a veteran. You're never sitting at Starbucks halfway through your latte, and you never get a text from your veteran friends going, I'll be there in 15 minutes, order for me. I'm still in the shower. They come from a background where if you don't do the things that you say you're going to do, and if you don't explain why you're not doing them, people could die. So their level of accountability is through the freaking roof. And we have a great selection of board ops around here, one of whom happens to be a Navy vet. And I always tell him, man, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I feel I can breathe a sigh of relief when I go home. And I've always been very forward as a manager of people, as someone who's clawed their way to middle management in corporate America. I've always been very forward about telling people their value and that I value them. And inevitably, okay, so I'm valuable. What now? I'm that's a conversation you have to have with people that are several rungs above me. But I'm going to go out on a limb and guess it doesn't happen. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess you have to know that you are valuable, and what you do with that to move on to the next stage of your career is your business. So, what were you talking about? Oh yeah, Megyn Kelly. She got a promotion. I mean, look, Megyn Kelly, is there a better known newswoman in the world at the moment? Is there? Or at least in America?
I don't think so.
No. And when that happens, you got a contract coming up. You have one or two things you can do. You can strangle literally all the money out of your existing employers, or you can go pimp yourself out to other organizations. And evidently, she pimped herself out to other organizations and is now going to be joining NBC. Megyn Kelly leaving Fox News to join NBC. But thanks to Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, Britt Hume, and folks like that, Fox News still has plenty of eye candy. Why do you think she quit, Funkhouser?
Why? Money. Come on.
Just about money?
Well, do you think she'll have more eyeballs now?
I think people are going to be looking at her out of curiosity for the first couple of weeks, going, what's she going to do over there? I would imagine she just got tired of pretending that Scott Baio, Stacey Dash, and the guy who played Hercules are relevant political commentators.
Real Radio 104.1.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
All right, Funker. Oh my gosh.
Funker.
I'm not sick, but I've just got this never-ending frog in my throat. It won't go away. I think it's, New Year's Day, it started hitting. I think it's allergies. I don't know what the hell it is. I just started sneezing, and really kind of cliched sneezes, chew. I don't feel sick and I don't feel unwell, but I feel like my nose is permanently itchy, and I have this rather unattractive amphibious quality to the back of my throat, and I'm just, you're just going to have to deal until the Sudafed kicks in. Anyways, and thank you for that. Appreciate your patience. We're going to talk a little bit later on, Funkhouser, about the amount of humility and the amount of humility in putting themselves aside that the Clintons have agreed to go through. In just a little bit. Right now, though, let's return to what remains of the news. What else is going on in the world?
Gospel singer Kim Burrell has been scrubbed from a performance on Ellen after she was caught on a video delivering a homophobic rant during a church service.
Yeah, but on the bright side, just got an offer to perform at the Trump inauguration, so there's that. So were you aware of this? Did you see any of this?
I think I saw a piece of it online, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. I didn't
So
give it.
Ellen DeGeneres uninvited this gospel singer, Kim Burrell, from her show. I think it was supposed to be tomorrow that she was on. And this is after, like, a homophobic rant. She did a song with Pharrell Williams called I See a Victory for the soundtrack to the upcoming movie Hidden Figures. Pharrell was supposed to be on tomorrow's Ellen show, along with the movie stars Octavia Spencer and Janelle Monáe. Burrell and Pharrell, that's confusing, they were supposed to do the song, but not so much anymore. Ellen tweeted, quote, "For those asking, Kim Burrell will not be appearing on my show." Burrell's also a pastor at Liberty Fellowship Church International in Houston, Texas, so one of the places I call home. And the viral video was a sermon that she did there where she went off on gays, calling them deluded, confused, and perverted, and suggested that they are going to die in 2017. Let's, all right, maybe turn off the background so we can get a clear listen.
Y'all came to hear about cars? I came to tell you about sin. Come on! Come on! That sin nature, I'll get down one with the other one, but that perverted homosexual spirit is a spirit of delusion and confusion, and it has deceived many men and women. And it's caused a stain on the body of Christ. And those homosexual spirits have been angry, and they come up against it. You gotta love everybody. Spit out, you serpent. Come on. You cannot give instruction to God holiness with that much perversion. You are perverted, and you cannot tell me what thus saith the Lord. You're perverted.
So, not the best audio, but did you get the general gist of that, Funkhouser?
Yeah.
I believe you cannot partake in the Spirit of the Lord if you are as perverted as being a homosexual, is what she was saying.
Doesn't sound like church to me.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't been to church in Houston. I think this is going to... I do not think this is the end of it. I don't think this is the end of it. I think one of two things will happen with this. Kim Burrell was pastor at a church, but she got to do a song with Pharrell Williams, one of the biggest artists on the face of the planet. So one of two things are going to happen here. One, we're going to see her apologize for the error of her ways because she's trying to salvage her show business career, and she's going to be on the cover of a million different things saying, "I'm sorry, I've learned by my record." Two, she's going to double down on homophobia. There's going to be people saying they will boycott Ellen or something of that nature. And she is going to continue to play to the flock. And they will all go out and buy whatever homophobic record she decides to put out. Whatever song she writes about this experience of being snubbed by snotty liberals like Ellen and their perverted homosexual ways. Like, it's just, I'm really hoping that it just turns out to be a thing where she goes away. But I think we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about this. That would be my guess. Mark it in your calendar, Funkhouser. The name Kim Burrell came up for the first time on the show today. It will not be the last time. I'm not saying it's going to be a big deal, but I think this will. I think this story has some legs to it, and I hope not. It's just, look, God. You know what? The homophobia thing is a whole other conversation. And I think homophobic people that talk about this sort of thing in church are one of two people. One, you're not actually homophobic, but fear and division are a fantastic way to make money. There's great money in hate, especially if you are a person so-called of the cloth. Hey, there's this thing called gay, and it's coming for you, and it's going to destroy your home, your community. It might even affect your children. It's a perversion, it's a delusion, and it's antithetical to everything that God is all about. Well, what can we do? Well, fortunately, you have me. And there's nothing that you can do, but I have a direct line to the big guy upstairs because I'm up here behind the pulpit, banging on it, and I can help, but you're going to have to pass a collection plate. Oh, man, absolutely. Save our soul. Do you have a PayPal account? That's how you make money off of fear and division and homophobia. And that's one type of person that you see in the pulpit screaming that homosexuality is the devil incarnate coming to take your children. The other side of it, the people that are genuinely homophobic, that like I don't know. It's an interesting one. I'm just trying to think for a second which is worse. People that are trying to profit off of homophobia, or no, I would say it's the people that are trying to profit off of homophobia because they rely on the spread of things like that to line their bank accounts. And if you've just been indoctrinated into it, if you've been going to Kim Burrell's church since you were a kid and you don't know any better, and you're being told that homosexuals are deluded and perverted and all of these things, I mean, God freaking forbid that you're a kid that maybe doesn't even realize you're homosexual yet, but knows there's something a little bit different about you. Being told that you're going to burn for an eternity in the fiery pit of hell because of something that you have no control over something that was not your choice. God freaking forbid. But if you're a 6-year-old kid, you don't know any better. Children don't know prejudice. They're taught it from a very young age. And, yeah. So, I guess, I guess I'm going to turn one of their phrases on them. Don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. You meet a homophobic person? That's really unfortunate, and it's short-sighted, and it's idiotic. But you got to bear in mind, they've probably been indoctrinated into that from an age where they were too young to make any kind of real decision for themselves. So when it comes to homophobes, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. And don't tolerate it wherever you see it. Mm-hmm. Good job, Alan, for taking a stand. What else?
Katie Couric is back co-hosting the Today Show with Matt Lauer for the week. She says it's just like riding a bicycle.
Oh, gosh. A smug, balding bicycle that you hope you never have to work with again. But, don't they kind of hate each other? Is it like, I don't pay much attention to television.
Don't all co-hosts hate each other except for you and me?
No, I really like you.
Well,
like you're. But yeah, do you think that we would hate each other if we, like, I think anybody that's listened to the show for any amount of time knows we're not even in the same room. We're not even in the same city. If we, like Funkhouser's, one of my best friends, we talk every single day. We have an ongoing relationship. We have, we're friendly on the air and off the air. But I wonder if we had to be in the same building and see each other's faces every single day. Do you think we'd get along? Because this is just like a daily phone call I have with, you and thousands of our other good friends.
I think we'd get along. I just think our relationship would be different. It'd just
be different?
I don't know how, but it'd be different.
See, you want to hang out. You like hanging out. You like going places and doing stuff. Like Funkhouser's. And you know what? When was the time that you said you decided?
I like hanging out with people who don't like hanging out. That's my thing, is I only hang out with people that don't like hanging out.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
I don't go out a lot, but when I do, it's with people that also don't go out ever and hate it.
See, I don't know. Like, I think Funkhouser said we'd been working together for a few months, and Funkhouser said this is the moment he decided he knew he liked me. Was, what did you say? You were like, hey, this weekend, we could meet up, and there's this thing. Let's find a town that's halfway between you and halfway between me. We'll go out, we'll get lunch, we'll have a cool time. We'll row down or something of that nature. Sure. And I was like, that actually does sound really nice, and it's very thoughtful of you to say that. But I got to be honest with you, I don't want to. And it's nothing against you. It's nothing against the proposed activity. It's just on the weekends, I like to not get off the couch. I like to sit there and do as little as possible. And the idea of human interaction, well, that's something I like to keep to a minimum. And driving long distances and participating in activities, not my thing. And apparently that's the moment you decided you liked me?
Yep.
Was it the honesty?
We were cool. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was the honesty
and also the lack of wanting to hang out in general. I appreciate that. It's hard enough sitting here talking.
You ever see that Seinfeld where Jerry says to Elaine, "You want to go to the coffee shop?" And she's like, I'll go if I don't have to talk. He's like, okay, come on. I relate to that so much.
Yep.
Like, if I can just sit there and drink coffee, I'll go with you. But you know what? At the same time, another line from Seinfeld is he asks George to come with him to the DMV, I think it is. And he's like, come on, be a come with guy. And and he's like, no. And I often wish I had a come with guy. I don't. everybody's got, responsibilities.
You
want to
come with guy? I don't want to come with guy.
Yeah. I
You mean
think
like
that'd be
come with
fun.
me to the post office and wait in line with me?
I guess this is this harkens back to an easier, simpler time in my life. When I first moved from England to America and I was like this idiotic teenage kid, all I had to do was eat, sleep, go to the studio, record music, and, I'm making it sound like it didn't involve a lot of work. It really did. But outside of that, I didn't have a home. I didn't have a bill to pay. I didn't have any of these things. I lived in a tour bus on people's couches and in hotel rooms. So I didn't have a life to maintain outside of the work that I did. Also, I had no friends because I'm in this new country. And the engineers and the people that worked at our record label and they became my friends. A lot of them were young kids like me, sort of late teens, early 20s. And, when they had to do stuff, I would be the come with guy. They're like, I got to go to the post office. I'll come with you. I got nothing to do. My vocals are done for the day. They're going to be working on this mix for the next 5 hours. I'll go with you, And I enjoyed that carefree aspect of being a come with guy. But I don't know if I want to come with guy so much as I want to live a simpler life where I had less responsibility. So I gotta, yes. Yeah, what do you think?
Interesting balance.
I don't know. Would you like a come with guy?
No. I had one. It was a dog. So that's why you get a dog. Come with me, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't do anything really come withable outside of this, You want to go to Subway?
And I guess a lot of the come with guy activities or girl activities, you just do them online now.
I can handle that. That's a different story.
Well, that's female companionship. That's just you trying to possibly touch a boob. That's different. That's that's what I mean. Do you want to come with girl? A platonic come with girl?
I have one of those. So I guess yeah.
Okay.
Well, not really. I don't know. I mean, the jury's still out on that too. I don't know if I typically like hanging out with my come with girl, but
who is it? Who's the come with girl?
Oh, my friend Destiny. She's my roommate, so it's very
yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's tatted up and 5'1", which is funny.
Does she enjoy the romantic company of other females?
Yes. Exclusively.
So there really is no romantic ulterior motive there.
No. Nope.
Do you think there might come a point where you both get really drunk and you wind up sleeping with your lesbian roommate?
Nope, because we've had those times and it hasn't happened.
Oh, right. I have a friend. I had a friend who had a lesbian roommate. He's like, it's great because we know there's nothing there. They got really drunk. They wound up sleeping together, and it ruined their friendship.
Oh.
So I guess that's an avenue of pleasure you won't be walking down.
Real radio. Real radio. 104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
So wait, can you hear me now? Did I press the right button?
Hello. Yeah, no, that was my fault this time.
Oh, that was your fault? Okay. Oh, see how we both own up to our mistakes and it's not that big of a deal?
It's not a mistake if you meant to make it happen. I meant that to happen. I just like that part of the song.
It's very Pee Wee Herman of you. I meant to do that. We'll talk about the Clintons' supreme act of humility. The Clintons are really sucking it up, and we'll discuss exactly how in just a little bit. Not so much Bill, especially Hillary. Bill's sort of there to lend support. And we'll get into exactly the whys and wherefores of that later. Right now, though, let's roll through what remains of the news. Funkhouser, what else is going on in the world?
NBC may be reviving Will and Grace.
You want to break the news to Mike Pence, or should I?
Did you ever see that? Was that a thing?
I loved Will and Grace back in the day. I loved it. And you know what's funny? What's interesting to me is I didn't realize it was a big deal. Like when you see Remember the 90s, or was that show a 90s show or a 2000 show? like late 90s, early 2000s, right? Is that
so.
fair? I don't know. But it never really occurred to me that that show was groundbreaking in any way. Like, look, homophobia, racism, misogyny, all these things. When I was brought up, and I guess, you know, how we were talking about the power of involved parenting when I was a kid, this speaks to that. I'd never experienced any of this stuff. I knew it existed. I knew it was out there. But the idea that you would treat someone as less than someone else because of the color of their skin or their religious choices or perhaps their sexuality, just alien and foreign to me because of the way my parents brought me up. My parents brought me up saying everybody is equal and deserves your respect, no matter what. If they're a jerk, F them. But from the get-go, none of these things dictate how you treat another person ever, 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 ever. And I remember coming to America and seeing my first examples of racism. I remember being in like the 11th grade, and we've told this story on the show before, but I remember being in the 11th grade or so, and I'm hanging out with some friends of mine that used to live in England, now live back in America, and they want to have a party. Now, in England, nobody cares about the drinking age. You just, you get booze, that's what you do, and it's not that big a thing, and people don't, interestingly enough, people in England don't binge drink the same way that they do as kids in America. That chug, chug, chug thing, I mean, exists a whole lot more over here than it did. And I think a big part of the reason is like, we got a beer, quick, drink it before the cops show up. Like, I remember being at a kegger that got broken up by the cops. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is ridiculous. So like, run. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're running from cops. Oh, all right, fine. And I guess because they're so strictly against it, people get a little bit more bent out of shape about it. But I'll never forget being with these guys in Long Island and them going, okay, well, we got to get beer for this party, but they won't sell to us here, so we got to go to N-word town. And of course, they didn't say N-word town. They used the other word. And I was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. What?
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I just, they said it again. I was like, this is not a party I want to be at. You guys have fun later. I sat and thought about it for the longest time because I'd never, ever heard that. I'd never, ever come into contact with racism, real racism like that, until I was about in the 11th grade. And the same goes for homophobia and things of that nature. I remember meeting a guy who once told me he was a sharp. You know what a sharp is, Funkhouser?
No,
A sharp is it's part of, like, I guess, I think it was more prevalent in the 80s. And this was a guy who was like, yeah, back in the day, I was a sharp. And this was a guy who I think grew up in small town Texas. And I was like, what was that? He's like, a skinhead against racial prejudice. And he was like, he looked at me, he fixed me with these steely eyes, and he said, I don't believe that the color of a person's skin makes them better than another person or worse than another person. No one is better than anybody else based on the color of their skin. Never forget that. And I was like, this is not news to me. Like, okay, appreciate the quiet. Like, but the way he said it to me was like this was a big deal, and he'd gotten his ass kicked for saying it before in the past, and he had, and that was just mind-boggling to me. And it goes to my point with regard to being an involved parent and making sure that your kids enter the world in the right way, in as many ways as possible. And one of the ways my parents did that for me is, like I said, sexuality, religion, and the color of someone's skin were never a yardstick by which you measured a human being. So when Will and Grace came out, it didn't really occur to me that this was like groundbreaking stuff. But now you see, like, remember the 90s on whatever sort of nostalgic show is recounting when Will and Grace came out and was a hit. They're like, if you told me that someone could be, you'd have a show on TV with two of the main characters gay, I would have told you were crazy. And I didn't realize at the time that Will and Grace was this groundbreaking, forward-thinking show that did so much to move that ball of humanity and acceptance further down the field. And you know what? It occurs to me now that maybe, just maybe, if we still live in a world in 2016, and I suppose we always will, but you'd think that this would get stamped out and that we would be disabused of our short-sighted notions. But when women like that pastor lady that got disinvited from the Ellen Show for her homophobic preaching, when that's still happening, maybe will and grace is a necessary thing. And you know, I hear that argument all the time. Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be a big deal that they're gay? Why can't they just be people? Well, we still live in a world where pastors, without any sense of shame, will get up on stage and tell you that a homosexual person is deluded and perverted and can't be a person that bathes in the bath known as the love of God, or whatever the hell spin they take on it. We still live in a world where the idea of someone being gay makes them less than other people to a lot of folks. And for that reason, anything that pushes a dialogue of acceptance, not something where you're going to shove anything down anyone's throat, he said, not realizing what he said till after he said it, but something that just makes this part of the norm, where we can move on, live life, and treat everybody around us for what they are. Another person is a good thing. So yeah, I hope NBC does bring back Will and Grace. I hope it's good. Please don't suck. Oh, I did it again.
But then I've got a hunch that if I step to you, you'd back right down. Can't see it through your bitch and you're like Kool-Aid. You're just 10% juice.
Real radio. Real radio. Real radio. Real radio. 104.1.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
All right, Funkhouser, a little bit more news, and then we will talk about the Clinton Supreme Act of Humility. What else is going on in the world?
Well, ratings for the premiere of the new Celebrity Apprentice with Arnold Schwarzenegger were disappointing.
Can you do an Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Ask me after a couple more episodes of this, because I'm working on it. It's
you are?
Yeah.
There's a guy. We should get him on the show. There's a guy.
Get to the chopper.
He does tell people to get to the chopper, right?
That's it. Instead of saying you're fired, he goes, "You're terminated. Get to the chopper."
That's awesome.
And they fly away.
And the ratings weren't good? This surprises me. Because, I'd watch it just for that. I'm going to watch it just for that.
I died. I fell over and died when that happened. It was the best. I recommend that.
So, one of the stations I work for, Rockin' a 5-3 in San Diego, there's a guy down the hallway. Clint August is his name, and he used to work at, the legendary 91X back in the day. And he, did a whole bunch of stuff.
Rock.
And now he works at the classic rock station, KGB. And he doesn't do it on the air, but he does impressions. He is a fantastic impressionist. He does Arnold Schwarzenegger like you wouldn't believe. So much so that, you know how you got pranked by Jay Leno, Funkhouser?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for reminding me about that.
And if you haven't seen the clip, go to the internet and watch it. What was the name of the show? You got pranked by...
Google search on YouTube for Jay Leno car prank, and you'll be able to
Jay
see
Leno
me
car prank.
Make a fool of myself.
Yeah, you got pranked by Jay Leno and David Spade. And, Clint, the guy down the hall, pranked Jay Leno. He does such a good Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation that back in the day on the air, before the laws changed and you couldn't do this stuff anymore, he did his Schwarzenegger, called The Tonight Show, said it was Arnold because Arnold was going to be on the show and that he wanted to talk to Jay, and they put him through. So, there's audio in existence of him prank calling Jay Leno as Arnold Schwarzenegger. He does such a spot-on impersonation of him. It's amazing. But, yeah. So, if you could...
he got a good impression there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Didn't you do your impersonation of Jay Leno for Jay Leno? And let's be real here. Your impersonation of Jay Leno is funny to us, but it's not that good.
Yeah. I tried.
And then and it wasn't even your best attempt at doing Jay Leno when you did it for Jay Leno. You're like, I have an impersonation of you. And he's like, oh, you do? Totally unamused. He's like, yeah, you know how your voice goes up and it goes down like that. And yeah, it was wildly, unbelievably awkward. But yeah, ratings for the new premiere of for the premiere of the new Celebrity Apprentice with Arnold Schwarzenegger, apparently not so hot. I believe the last time Schwarzenegger saw ratings that low, he was governor of California. Do you think, I wasn't. I didn't spend much time in California while Arnold was the governor. But do you think that living in California while Arnold was your governor prepared you for living in an America where Trump was president?
Yeah, because in that time that he was governor, we lost all of our national parks. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Well, the sense was among Californians. Did he do a good or a bad job? Because I remember it wasn't like an R&D thing. It wasn't a Republican Democrat thing.
With the maid during that time, wasn't he governor at the time that happened?
At the time, I don't know if it was at the time, but I wonder if she was still the maid at the time. I don't know. But like I remember it not being a Republican or a Democrat thing. I think Jamie Lee Curtis, who is staunchly left, was all about Arnold Schwarzenegger being governor, and she was like, he really cares. He really cares about the people of California, and that is why he should be our governor. He legitimately cares, and I don't know, like, do people look back on him fondly or no? Like, probably not, right?
I'm not sure, because he just went back to Jerry Brown after that. Same guy's been running it, so it was...
Yeah.
I think it was...
I don't know.
It was a weird thing.
It was a weird thing. It was a strange anomaly, and it happened, and now it wasn't. But, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I remember hearing Jamie Lee Curtis talk about how he was qualified to be governor of California because he cared. He legitimately cared about people, specifically the people of California.
Jamie Lee Curtis said that? Weren't they in True Lies together?
Probably. I don't know. Like they were buddies, you know. And she was helping him get elected. And I remember she was like 3 words: legitimate public concern. I don't know why that stuck in my brain, but it really did. And I remember thinking at the time, going, "Is that enough? Is that enough to get things done as a politician? Is just caring enough, or do you have to be an experienced politician?" And I don't know. I would imagine most of the people that you talk to about Arnold Schwarzenegger's term as governor of California.
Well, I mean, we didn't die, so California is still part of
there,
America.
Do you look back on it as someone that was in California at the time? Do you look back on it as an interesting experiment that didn't work, but you're glad you gave it a go?
It's not that it didn't work. It was just kind of a gray, 4 years of grayness. I mean, a lot of people say that he improved it. A lot of people would say that he didn't improve it. But you know, I don't see any long term. It didn't affect my life whatsoever. But I was in my 20s at the time. Nothing affects you at that age.
You know what?
I think that gas prices went up. That was a national thing.
Yeah, you bring up such an interesting point, and we talk about this on the show, and it's always worth repeating. When you're a kid, when you're that bulletproof kid, you don't care. You know, you talk to kids about politics, and they're like, I don't know, is that guy like trying to run for mayor or something? Who, like, the kids are so disinterested in politics, and a lot of people go, oh no, the youth doesn't care about the future. This is a terrible, horrible thing. And you know, you should know as much as possible. You should educate yourself about the world in which you live. But I think back to the time where I was leaving the nest, where I was on that precarious transference between childhood and adulthood. And I kind of was politically astute. I had this uncle that kind of treats politics like sports. You know, it was, he collected memorabilia, he enjoyed it, he thought it was a spectator sport to him. That's what it was. And so I kind of knew a little bit more about politics because of that uncle, who was actually an uncle that was also in radio at one point. I just thought he was cool, and I wanted to be interested in things he was interested in. But it didn't matter to me who was elected, who wasn't elected. Why? Because I was bulletproof. I was going to make the world my bitch. And you know that feeling, don't you? You're unstoppable when you are 16, 17, 18. All you want to do is get out of school and start your life. You're going to bring this world to its knees, and you don't know how, but the whole world lays out before you like an open road, and you are the master of your own destiny. And then what happens? You get a car. That car gets into an accident. Your insurance premiums go up. You can't afford your car, but you're trying to get to work so you can pay for your school. And then you graduate and you're left with student loans. And then maybe you have a relationship and you have a kid. And little by little, you add all these little pieces of weight to your life until you're dragged down. And that brashness of youth, where you were going to bring the world to its knees, and you were going to shape it to your will, and you were going to design your life, and you were going to take over the world, and you were going to do what was right and what mattered to you. That slowly gets eroded away by life's responsibilities, by this world that we live in. And you look around, or at least a lot of people I know did. You look around, start looking around. Maybe when you're in your mid-20s, definitely by the time you're ready to hit your 30s and you're in your early 30s, and you realize that life hasn't really worked out the way that you'd hoped it would or you thought it would. And oftentimes we start looking around for someone to blame. And who's a good person to lay the blame on? A politician? Perhaps. Well, if only this person was in office, things would be very different. I don't see how anyone could be happy in America. I'm just going to have to move to Canada. Guess what? Things suck absolutely everywhere. And the bottom line is, if you can return yourself to that attitude of your 20s where who was in office didn't matter because you were going to shape your life and your world. And you, like Funkhouser, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California, were just like, I don't know, I didn't notice. I was busy having a life and doing awesome stuff because I was in my 20s. If you can keep yourself and that brashness of thought intact as you become an adult, if you can continue to see the world with the wonder and possibility of a kid, there's a very good chance that you're going to get where you're going a lot quicker, regardless of who is or who is not in office. Yep, that's what I think. What else, Funkhouser?
Yes. Disney is reportedly considering Woody Harrelson as the role of Han Solo's mentor in a standalone Star Wars movie.
Woody Harrelson's gonna be in a Star Wars movie? What's the character's name? Obi-Wan Kenobi? I guess, okay. That just seems funny to me.
Yep.
Because he smokes pot. And Obi-Wan, anyway. Woody Harrelson's one of those guys, man. He's such a good actor. And you know why he's such a good actor, Funkhouser?
Why?
Because he can make you... No, he makes you forget who the hell he is. He can be Woody from Cheers and you totally buy it. He can be the... what was the movie? True Romance? Mickey and Mallory? Was that the or... He's like... When he was in True Detective, holy freaking God. Like, I mean, he was on Will and Grace. He played Will's boyfriend. He played a character that dated... he dated Grace. Sorry, he wasn't gay. But he just, played this affable guy that had a whole bunch of money because he collected on an insurance claim and didn't really do anything with his life. And he was Grace's boyfriend. And whatever. He makes you forget all this stuff when you see him on screen. In True Detective, I was just like, holy crap, he's so good. He is so good. So, as much as the idea of him playing a character in Star Wars is a little hard to take, I think, based on that, Obi-Wan Kenobi could be a thing. All right, what else?
Hillary Clinton will attend the inauguration of Donald J. Trump.
Mm-hmm. She's been preparing for the event by spending 2 hours a day gritting her teeth as practice. This is the act of supreme humility that we're going to talk about. How much time do we have left in the show, Funkhouser? 2 minutes. Well, we can get into this a little bit. So, Donald Trump will have a very, very special guest at his inauguration on the 20th. Crooked Hillary Clinton. Technically, not necessarily his guest, but she's there because of her husband, Bill. Why? Well, it's customary, I guess, for former presidents to be invited, and Hillary couldn't be more of an outsider in this situation. You know what Hillary is when she attends Donald Trump's inauguration? Funkhouser?
What?
She is going to be Bill Clinton's +1.
Oh.
Yeah, like I said, it's a supreme act of humility for her to swallow it and for her to take it and for her to show up. I'm still not entirely sure she won't find something else to do, like literally anything else to do. Get me someone on the phone, literally anybody on the phone. I'd love to. Man, I've got a busy day of reorganizing my sock drawer and clipping my toenails, so I won't be able to make it, but you enjoy the inauguration. George W. Bush and his wife Laura are going to be there too, along with Jimmy Carter. We don't know about Jimmy's wife Rosalind. George H.W. Bush, he's not going to be there, but that's because of health issues. Jimmy and George Sr. are both 92 years old. 92. Source says Hillary talked with advisors about whether to go or not and ultimately decided to, out of, quote, a sense of duty and respect for the American democratic process, attend. So if you think that every single camera won't be trained on her during the inauguration, you got another thing coming. I wasn't going to watch it, but I think I will now. Of course I was going to watch it. I can't help myself. It's like I must spectate. And then you and I must talk about it the next day on the show. Thank you so much for hanging out.